The following paid advertisement is brought to you by Master Strategy.
It's amazing. I wake up every morning wanting to wake up. Because when I was using, I didn't want to wake up.
My biggest surprise is I didn't know how good my life could be.
I'm definitely not exactly where I want to be, but I am so far from where I used to be.
It feels good to wake up and not need something. It feels good not to, it's easier to struggle on this side.
I've never felt this way. Like, even in my childhood, I never was content with myself.
I feel like I'm just starting my life with a good foundation.
Just a warning, the show you're about to see could change your life. My name is Deborah Ball, and with me in the studio is author and clinical director Dr. David Sutton and renowned entertainer Dick Smothers. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Good to be here.
Dr. Sutton, the reason we're here today is because based on your 25 years of work, you've created a program that has helped thousands of people fight and beat drug and alcohol addiction. And from what I understand, your program is one of the most successful in the country. The track record is amazing. Why do you suppose that is?
The 25 years of experience, not all of it was success. And one of the things that we've done over the years is we've found the things that work and the things that don't work. And we've been able to compile a process that people can enter into that can actually break the cycle of addiction. And compared to some of the other programs, we have recognized that addictions, regardless of whatever the addiction is, are multidimensional. The addictions are mental and emotional, they're physical, they're spiritual, even relational. And if we take a linear approach or a single approach to any one of those, we can have some success. But to have success where you're really actually going to address the whole problem, it requires that you take a multi-dimensional approach, and that's what we've done. We've developed the best of all worlds to put into one program.
That makes a lot of sense. And now, Dick, how did you meet Dr. Sutton, and what led you to write the foreword in his book?
Well, to tell you the truth, I heard there was an amazing man in town who had a recovery program, and I liked it, and I stayed. He saved the life of a very good friend of mine, took him in the program. I saw him about almost every week for a year, and that's how I saw him, and I wrote the foreword, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of him. I'm proud that I know him.
From personal experience, I know how tragic addiction can be. You know, I had a family member that it not only was devastating to our family, he died very young because of his problems with addiction. So but he was 64 when he passed. He had decades and decades of addiction issues and problems. What about people like that? I mean, is there hope for them? Is this program something that could benefit them?
There's hope for anybody, and I think one of the things that we come up with is an idea that we have to hit bottom and we have to go down all the way to the dredges of life before we can turn life around. In the moment of clarity, when a person decides that they want to change anything, they can step in and change that. Do some people follow it all the way to the end? They do, because they don't recognize the destruction that's there. And the people that are around them are the ones that are always impacted the most.
And Dick, didn't you have a good friend that used the My Recovery program?
Oh, absolutely. One of my lifelong friends was cursed with a very strong constitution. And for years, I would try to get him to stop drinking. Now, he was near death, finally, near death. I asked Dr. Sutton, do you think you could do something for this guy? And I looked at him and I said, I don't want you to waste his time. Do you want to live? Mm-hmm. You're near death. Mm-hmm. Do you want to live? And this man looked right at him. I hate it when there's no guy, there's just this piercing. Mm-hmm. And they just stared at one another. And I said, I couldn't stand it any longer. Mm-hmm. I said, do you want to live? Mm-hmm. And all he could do was go like this. And so he entered that program, and I said, okay, I'll be there every week. When he does his principal approach each Tuesday night, I'll be there. Mm-hmm. And I was almost weekly for a year. Mm-hmm. I saw this man grow. I saw the program. I saw people listening. I saw, instead of tombstones in their eyes, I saw life come back into so many people. Mm-hmm. And to my friend, yes, he slowly got back. And he's been sober now for 3 years.
Wow.
And I have no doubt my friend would be dead today.
Like, honestly, the last time, I didn't even want to live. Those were my two options, either die or find a different way to live.
If it wasn't for this program and Dr. Sutton, I would definitely have had my funeral by now. I believe that.
If I had not found this program, I would not be alive, because I had laughed in death's face so many times while active. I would not be alive today, and my daughter would be another orphan.
Just when I didn't think I could take it anymore, you know, take life. I mean, that's when I was given the gift of, you know, David Sutton in my life, and as well as you know, having a guidepost for living, which are principal tools that help me to live, that brought me a life, you know, beyond my wildest dreams.
I wanted to die when I was in my addiction. I want to live now. You know, I have a family that loves me and children that love me, and I feel my self-worth.
Dr. Sutton, you must be so proud of these people that have overcome these crippling addictions.
For me, I'm proud of their accomplishments, but for me it's a humbling thing that I would be any part of their journey.
And we've talked a lot about drug and alcohol addiction, but how is your program beneficial for people with, I mean, there's all kinds of addictions, as you know. Does your program address those as well?
Sure. Addictions are quite common, whether it's addictions to food or addictions to pornography or addictions to alcohol or drugs. We understand addictions all have a commonality in the common base of it, and the Recover from Addictions does the same thing. We teach basic principles that will change your life from the inside out. Those principles will address any addiction. People say they're addicted to more of anything. And so that's kind of, do we address all the addictions? Yeah, I think we address pretty much across the spectrum of them, because there's such a commonality in the thing of addictions and the commonality in recovery.
If this conversation touches your life or the life of a family member, pick up the phone and find out more about Dr. Sutton's My Recovery program. Addiction impacts entire families and leaves scars for generations to come. Most of us have gone through the emotional and physical roller coaster of an addicted family member. And there's such an overwhelming feeling of hopelessness and despair, and it seems like nothing can make a difference. But don't give up. Dr. Sutton's program is giving people the tools that they need to reset their lives. Don't let this moment pass. People just like you are finding out that there is life beyond addiction. Go ahead, pick up the phone and give us a call right now.
I have been using since I was 14 years old, and I stopped when I was 32 years old. I will have 3 years sober in 2 months.
I've been clean and sober almost 2 years. There's been rocky roads, you know, but I pull through.
I drank for 30 years, and this is the first time in my life I will have a year's sobriety on August 12th, and it's unbelievable.
I was active in my addiction very hard for like 12 years. I mean, from the ages of 11 to like 22 years old.
I was in my addiction for about 7 years. So I'm 25 today, and I got sober at 22. So August 1st makes 3 years sober.
Well, I started using when I was 11, and it got more and more. I've been clean now for 15 months today, and life is amazing. I wish I knew about this way of life when I was younger, instead of, you know, thinking that's what life was. You know, the principles and everything that comes into play into everyday life is just, it makes life so much more rewarding.
Is your life, or the life of someone you love, spiraling out of control and feeling hopeless due to drugs or alcohol? Have rehab centers and group meetings only provided temporary help? Have you tried to change but only find yourself falling back into your addiction? Maybe it's time to try something different. Now you can learn how to break the cycle of addiction in the privacy of your own home, at your own pace, with this new approach to getting clean and sober called the Recovery Program. The Recovery Program is the catalyst you need to turn it all around, once and for all. Instead of worrying about coworkers or friends finding out about your addiction, do something about it in the safety of your own home. With over 30 years of personal experience and work in addictions, Dr. David Sutton has seen thousands of amazing success stories. His approach has helped people find sobriety who had been unsuccessful in some of the nation's most expensive rehabs. And now it's available for you or someone you love. Call our toll-free number now to find out more about this transformational process. Addiction doesn't have to rule your life or destroy the lives of your family and friends. The recovery program is the catalyst you need to turn it all around, once and for all, in the comfort and privacy of your own home. Don't let this moment pass you by. Pick up the phone and call our trained associates who can answer any questions about the program and help you get on the road to a lasting recovery. No matter how old you are, it's time to live your life to its full potential. Please call right now.
If you've been watching, then you know how important this program is. The My Recovery program is a real life changer for people who have never known what it's like to be an addiction-free adult. With us again is author and creator of the program, Dr. David Sutton, and a celebrity who has had his own battles with addiction, the legendary comedian and brother, the one mom always liked best, Dick Smothers. So let me ask you both, can anyone use this program to help stop their addiction?
Anybody that wants to stop an addiction can use this program. And I think that desire has to be first. First and foremost, you have to look at where your life is, how you got to that square, and what it is that you want to change. This program can help any person step up and actually change their life. Whether it's the person that's in the addiction, it's the family member, it really doesn't make a difference because the recovery process is the same. Regardless of the type of addiction, regardless of the length of addiction, it's the same process, and this program is the one that can step up and help you do that.
So Dick, you know, what was your bottom? What part made you decide that it was time to get sober?
Well, it was the middle of my, the start of my third divorce. I was sick and tired of losing these people that loved me and I loved them, and they couldn't live with me.
Yeah, that's painful.
No.
Do you find that sometimes people don't seek help because maybe they're too embarrassed, or it may have other implications, you know, with their work life or social life, or maybe they don't even think they have a problem?
Well, most people at the beginning, there's a point where they don't feel like they have a problem, and there'll be moments of clarity that'll come where a person can see that. And then they have all of the resistance. What are the barriers that are keeping me in my addiction? Well, maybe it's your job. Perhaps you have a job or a career that if they found out you had a problem with alcohol or drugs or pornography, that you'd be out of it. It's really interesting later on, as a person gets recovery, that becomes less and less important to them. Everybody knew anyhow. The idea that a person will acknowledge that. And some, it's that pride thing. Some don't want to let go of it because it's the only thing that they know. Right. The only thing that's ever brought relief or made them feel normal is this addiction. And so they stay in the addiction, stay trapped in the addiction. Maybe not for embarrassment, but maybe just out of fear. So anybody can break the cycle of addiction if they choose.
And what about family members or people out there that have family members or a spouse or a child maybe that has an addiction problem, but they've tried everything? Can this program help them?
Program can certainly help them, but I think it was said earlier, you have to want it. You've got to want to change. And how do we get to a person that doesn't want to change? Well, the idea that we can approach them and tell them you're an addict, you're an alcoholic, most of the time is met with pretty strong resistance. I will tell you that the people that are watching today, if you think you've got a problem, you do. Because people that are not addicted never wonder whether they have a problem or not. For the family member, this program can change your life. It can begin with you, and you can be the catalyst to help that change in the addict.
Well, and I know in your book you talk about your own struggles with alcoholism and your own recovery. Do you feel that gives you a deeper insight into the people's lives that are also struggling with that? And is that part of why you started the program?
Sure. I've been out of active addiction for over 30 years. And the idea that I have a better understanding, well, I've done the educational components, and I've had lots and lots of life experience in counseling with people. But there's a difference in a person that's been through it. I can recall the last day that I drank. I can recall how low I was, how alone I was, how broken I was. It doesn't take me very long to tap into what I really feel. And that feeling. The reason that I can help people is I know how you feel. I know what that feeling is. I know the despair. and I've never forgotten that despair. Do I live in that? No, but it's not very far away from me. Sure. I know, who am I helping? Well, I'm helping that guy that I was.
Now, Dick, I know that there are a lot of people watching that are struggling with addictions and really don't want to live that way anymore. But what could you tell them that may give them some hope regarding this program and how it can change their life?
Well, if they really don't want to live that way anymore, I'd say you don't have to. This is, you really think you're choosing, but when you're addicted, you have no choice except go for your addiction. So get rid of that addiction. There's help out there. Just a phone call away. And all you have to do is say, okay, I have a problem, I want to change it. And it has to come from you. If you don't want to, you're going to do it for your loved ones or for your job or court ordered. You're just teasing yourself. You're fooling yourself. Once you want it, it's there and you can make the change.
What more can we say? There's a reason you're watching this show right now. It doesn't matter how long your addiction has been destroying your life. You can finally start living the life that was meant for you. Maybe this is not the first time you thought about making a change. The moment has come. Just pick up the phone now and find out how this program can help. If you wait, you may not call. Make the decision to live. Call us toll-free right now and speak with someone who can help.
This program is making a huge difference in a lot of people's lives.
It made me re-examine my whole belief system. It made me rethink how I saw life.
And through the books and the DVDs and learning, and not just learning, but putting them into my life, each and every day, it's changed my life. It's really helped me a lot.
Years of counseling didn't work. In and out of detoxes didn't work. In and out of rehabs didn't work. I've had great friends. I have great support around me. I have great children. Lots to live for. And I was killing myself. And that book, it sits by my bed now.
Yeah, Dr. Sutton's program is definitely the perfect foundation to start off. It's definitely what you need to get started.
Is your life or the life of someone you love spiraling out of control and feeling hopeless due to drugs or alcohol? Have rehab centers and group meetings only provided temporary help? Have you tried to change but only find yourself falling back into your addiction? Maybe it's time to try something different. Now you can learn how to break the cycle of addiction in the privacy of your own home, at your own pace, with this new approach to getting clean and sober called the Recovery Program. The Recovery Program is the catalyst you need to turn it all around, once and for all. Instead of worrying about coworkers or friends finding out about your addiction, do something about it in the safety of your own home. With over 30 years of personal experience and work in addictions, Dr. David Sutton has seen thousands of amazing success stories. His approach has helped people find sobriety who had been unsuccessful in some of the nation's most expensive rehabs. And now it's available for you or someone you love. Call our toll-free number now to find out more about this transformational process. Addiction doesn't have to rule your life or destroy the lives of your family and friends. The Recovery Program is the catalyst you need to turn it all around, once and for all, in the comfort and privacy of your own home. Don't let this moment pass you by. Pick up the phone and call our trained associates who can answer any questions about the program and help you get on the road to a lasting recovery. No matter how old you are, it's time to live your life to its full potential. Please call right now.
Welcome back to the final portion of our show. With me is the creator of the My Recovery Program, Dr. David Sutton, and the remarkable Dick Smothers. Dr. Sutton, now is it just willpower, or are there special tools that people need to be successful at stopping the addictions?
The question of willpower always comes in when we talk about addictions. If willpower was enough, then everybody that has an addiction would stop the first time that they had a problem. At the moment that I encountered my first difficulty and the first destruction, I would stop. We know in the United States that willpower could not be the answer. Over $400 billion was spent last year because of addictions in the United States alone. So when we look at that, we have the largest prison population in the world, and we have the largest addiction population in the world. So willpower doesn't fix it. if it did. Actually, the willpower is part of the reason that we got in there. We have free will choices, and we use those free will choices to make decisions to make ourselves feel better. At some point, the free will is surrendered. At some point, we no longer have, it's no longer a choice, it's no longer an option. We become dependent upon a substance, or we become dependent on a behavior that allows us not to feel better necessarily, but even to maintain. So willpower loses its place in the equation. At some point, we have to look at that. Is the will still involved? Sure. Is the choices still involved? Certainly. You still have a choice, you still have a free will. However, the addiction becomes more powerful than the will. And at that point, you have to find something outside of yourself that's bigger than yourself. Our program provides that. There's nothing in the world that's stronger than a mother's love than addiction. And I've watched moms give up their children so that they can stay in their addiction. Willpower doesn't work. Willpower never has worked. And so there comes a place where we have to find something greater in ourselves. Our program will take you to that.
Right. And once somebody starts the program, how long does it take before they start seeing a change in their life and start really feeling a difference?
This program may not change your whole life instantly, but the moment that you make the decision that I want to change, if a person were today to pick up the phone and call, the moment that they make that decision, I'm going to try something, in that moment there's automatically a change. There's a relief that comes inside of acknowledging I have a problem, I want to do something about it. There's a change that comes instantly, and then there's the change that comes gradually, the change that's progressive over a period of time. People can change how they feel right now just by simply making the decision to try.
So there's a lot of people out there that are probably wondering, you know, there's a lot of expensive rehab clinics and centers out there that don't always have a very good success rate at all. So how could a program like this help people if those expensive rehab centers haven't really worked maybe for them or someone that they know?
Well, we look at anybody that's trying to help people, I'm in favor of. So the rehab centers have some success ratio, but not very much. People go in there with the wrong motives. They're not really ready to quit drinking or ready to quit using drugs or ready to change. They want to go in there so they can get the heat off. Most people don't find recovery because they saw the light. They find recovery because they felt the heat. And so the heat's on, and the pressure is on from their life, and so they're going to try to do something to change enough so that they can get the pressure off. So they go into a rehab, they get cleaned up for a while, they come out, but they really don't make the internal change. And I think when we look at our program and look at what we've put together over these last 25 years, it's the internal change. It's those principles that change me from the inside out. And the byproduct is that I don't have to use alcohol or drugs or cigarettes or any of the rest of that anymore.
You have to realize, if you have any hope in this life at all, that you're not the sharpest pencil in the entire pencil box of life. You could have a pretty good point on you, but there's a lot smarter, wiser things out there. Once I accepted that, I've always been part of a group, part of a brother act, part of an orchestra, part of a choir. Every voice in the choir is important. Take one out, you hardly hear the difference. But I'm used to working with people. I'm a second son. And by the way, Mom did not like me best. Right here, I want to say, my brother lied for 50 years, but nobody's believing it. But it's okay. I love him, and I love my mom. The thing I didn't know about is life is richer than you could ever imagine if you don't go back to whatever your addiction is.
So Dr. Sutton, is there anything else you'd like to say to people that are watching right now?
Sure. I would tell you today, if you're watching this program, there's probably a reason that you stopped here. It's more than likely that you have had challenges with some kind of addiction in your life. Maybe you're battling it even now. And as you sit there and you watch this program, you ask yourself that question over and over, is that me? And then you make an excuse why it's not. And you have that internal conversation. While you're having that conversation, make a choice. Make a decision to look at your life realistically. Look at the destruction that's been around your life. Look at the turmoil that's come to your life. Today you can make a decision to change. You don't have to live that way. I've seen people come from the streets, from prisons, from deathbeds that have turned their life around just by simply acknowledging, I've got some problem and I want to address it. Today you can address that problem. Today you can find help. We're here to help you. God's here to help you. All you need to do is ask. You can turn your life around today.
I really want to thank you both for this really enlightening conversation and for the power of your program, Dr. Sutton.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful time with you.
This is the moment. It all changes here and now. Just pick up the phone and let your new life begin. I'm Deborah Ball. Thanks for watching.
Yes, I am definitely thinking for the first time that I even have a future. And I'm really proud of myself because there was, like I said, a time in my life where I decided that I was incapable of living. So it's very interesting to see just how much has changed in my life. I no longer find it necessary to do drugs and alcohol. I no longer find it necessary to date men who beat me and treat me unfairly.
I mean, first off, my mom is, you know, overwhelmed with joy. I mean, she saw the worst of it, and she's certainly glad to be seeing the best of it as well, you know.
Well, my family, they're happy to see me sober, and they feel like I've been reborn. They say that I'm technically only 3 years old because that person that I was before, I don't even compare to that person before.
You know, today, you know, people want to be around me. People like being like beside me and call themselves my friends and don't expect nothing from me.
Before, living the way I was living, all that negative, it was hard to see good in anything, and today I can find good in any situation.
If you want something that you've never had before, this is one of my favorite sayings that he says, you have to do something that you've never done before, you know? And if you keep on doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you've been getting.
If you're watching this and you're struggling with drugs or alcohol, there is hope, even though you might not think there is hope. What I can ask you to do from my own deepest heart, really, is please don't give up on yourself. I was 40 years old before I considered a new way of life. And I'm 67 years old today, and my life is unimaginable.
Is your life or the life of someone you love spiraling out of control and feeling hopeless due to drugs or alcohol? Have rehab centers and group meetings only provided temporary help? Have you tried to change but only find yourself falling back into your addiction? Maybe it's time to try something different. Now you can learn how to break the cycle of addiction in the privacy of your own home, at your own pace, with this new approach to getting clean and sober called the Recovery Program. The Recovery Program is the catalyst you need to turn it all around once and for all. Instead of worrying about coworkers or friends finding out about your addiction, do something about it in the safety of your own home. With over 30 years of personal experience and work in addictions, Dr. David Sutton has seen thousands of amazing success stories. His approach has helped people find sobriety who had been unsuccessful in some of the nation's most expensive rehabs. And now it's available for you or someone you love. Call our toll-free number now to find out more about this transformational process. Addiction doesn't have to rule your life or destroy the lives of your family and friends. The Recovery Program is the catalyst you need to turn it all around, once and for all, in the comfort and privacy of your own home. Don't let this moment pass you by. Pick up the phone and call our trained associates who can answer any questions about the program and help you get on the road to a lasting recovery. No matter how old you are, it's time to live your life to its full potential. Please call right now.
This has been a paid advertisement brought to you by Master Strategies.